People often wonder why others envy you. It isn't because you follow the crowd, it's because you don't. You stand apart, a loner, different, unshaken by the noise around you. While others chase attention, you guard your peace. While they drown in drama, you rise above it. And that calm, that focus, that unbothered strength becomes the very reason they can't ignore you. Being a loner does not mean weakness. In a world that glorifies crowds, constant noise, and endless validation from others, it takes a rare kind of strength to walk alone. Most people are terrified of silence, terrified of being left with their own thoughts, terrified of standing without a group to back them up. But those who can stand alone, those who can walk their path without needing constant approval, have discovered a power that few ever taste, the power of independence. Independence is not isolation. It is not bitterness or rejection. It is the freedom of knowing that your worth is not determined by who walks beside you, but by who you are when no one else is around. When you live in dependence on others for approval, your spirit becomes fragile. One word of criticism can shatter your confidence. One moment of rejection can throw your whole identity into question. But when you learn to stand alone, when you learn to validate yourself without the applause of the crowd, you become unshakable. Your confidence is no longer rented from people's opinions. It is owned by your inner strength. And that is why people envy you. They see in you what they secretly long for, the ability to be whole without needing to be constantly surrounded. Being a loner doesn't mean you hate people. It means you've chosen not to lose yourself in them. It means you have understood that not every voice deserves access to your soul. Not every opinion deserves space in your mind. And not every crowd deserves your presence. You have realized that solitude is not emptiness. It is clarity. In solitude, you hear your own voice more clearly. You discover what you truly value. You sharpen your thoughts, strengthen your convictions, and find a deeper connection with your own spirit. And make no mistake, this is why people envy you. They envy the quiet confidence that doesn't need to shout. They envy the peace that comes from not being chained to others' approval. They envy the way you can walk into a room without trying to belong, and yet your presence is undeniable. Because when someone is comfortable in their own skin, they shine in a way that no crowd can dim. Many confuse being alone with being lonely, but the two are not the same. Loneliness is emptiness. Being alone is empowerment. Loneliness cries for attention. Being alone builds strength in silence. Loneliness waits for someone else to bring value. Being alone knows that value is already within. When you choose solitude, you are choosing growth. You are choosing not to be distracted by the constant noise of the world. You are choosing to invest in your own mind, your own vision, your own journey. That is not weakness. It is strength beyond measure. There is a certain courage required to live this way. It is easier to hide in the crowd, to conform, to blend in, so that no one questions you. But it is braver to step aside, to say, I will not lose myself just to be accepted. I will not silence my uniqueness just to gain approval. That courage to stand alone, that courage to be different, is what shapes leaders. It is what shapes visionaries, dreamers, and world changers. Because history has never been written by those who followed the crowd. It has always been shaped by those who dared to walk alone. People may mock your independence, but secretly they admire it. They may try to shame you for being a loner, but deep down they crave the same freedom. They crave the ability to be unbothered, to be untouched by gossip, to be unaffected by rejection. But they don't know how to live without the validation of others. You do. That is your power. That is your strength. And that is why they envy you. So the next time someone calls you a loner, Do not take it as an insult. Wear it as a crown. It means you are strong enough to carry yourself. It means you are wise enough to value your peace. It means you are brave enough to live authentically, even if that authenticity sets you apart. Being a loner does not mean you are weak or unwanted. It means you are powerful enough to stand without needing to be constantly held up. And when you walk with that kind of strength, you become unstoppable. Different is not a curse. It is the greatest gift you could ever carry, the mark that separates you from the ordinary and positions you for something extraordinary. Too often in life, people are taught that being different is a flaw, that standing apart makes you less, that not fitting in means you are somehow incomplete. But the truth is the opposite. The very thing that sets you apart is the very thing that makes you powerful. The difference that others mock today will be the difference they celebrate tomorrow, because uniqueness is the soil where greatness grows. Think about it. Everything remarkable in this world exists because it was different. The inventions that changed history, the art that has endured for centuries, the voices that still inspire hearts long after they are gone, all of them stood apart. None of them blended in. None of them settled for sameness. Greatness is never born in imitation. It is born in distinction. And that same truth applies to your life. The qualities that others may not understand, the paths you choose that don't look like anyone else's, the perspectives you hold that feel out of place in the crowd, those are the very qualities that carry the seeds of your purpose. But here is where the struggle lies. When you are different, you often face resistance. People may criticize you because they don't understand you. They may envy you because you reflect the courage they lack. They may try to box you in, to make you conform, because your uniqueness disrupts the comfort of sameness. And in those moments, it can feel tempting to shrink, to dim your light, to hide the very thing that makes you distinct, just to silence their noise. But if you hide your difference, you hide your destiny. If you bury your uniqueness, you bury the very gift you were given to shape the world. Different is not always easy, but it is always necessary. If you blend in with the crowd, you will drown in the noise. If you silence your voice to sound like everyone else, your message will be lost. If you walk their path instead of your own, you will never arrive at the place you were meant to be. Being different may cause discomfort, but it also creates impact. People rarely remember those who fit in. They remember those who stood out. And maybe you've been told that your difference makes you strange, that it makes you less likable, that it makes you hard to understand. But listen carefully, what they call strange is often what makes you special. What they call unlikable is often what makes you unshakable. What they call hard to understand is often what makes you unforgettable. The world has enough copies. It is waiting for the original you. Your difference is not an accident. It is intentional. It is the way you were designed. And when you embrace it fully, you begin to see the strength hidden inside it. Your difference may give you vision others can't see. It may give you resilience others can't comprehend. It may give you wisdom, creativity, or courage that no one else around you carries. And it is exactly those qualities that equip you to rise above, to overcome obstacles, to endure trials, and to walk into victories that others thought were impossible. People envy you because your difference exposes their limitations. They see in you the freedom they don't have, the boldness they can't summon, the individuality they secretly wish for. And while they may disguise that envy with criticism or gossip, deep down they are simply unsettled by your courage to be who you are without apology. What they call arrogance is simply your authenticity. What they call rebellion is simply your refusal to be enslaved by sameness. What they call strange is simply your strength shining in a way they cannot replicate. So never apologize for being different. Never shrink because others are uncomfortable with your light. Never silence your voice because others cannot handle its sound. You were not created to be a shadow of someone else. You were created to be the fullest expression of yourself, and the moment you embrace that truth, you unlock the doors that lead to your purpose. Different is not a curse. It is the blessing that positions you for impact. When you accept it, when you nurture it, when you walk boldly in it, you begin to live in a way that cannot be ignored. And in the end, it is not the crowd that leaves the legacy. It is the ones who dared to stand apart. And that is why your difference will always be your greatest strength. Envy is not born out of your flaws. It is born out of your strengths. People do not envy what is common, they envy what is rare. They do not envy what is ordinary. They envy what is extraordinary. And when they look at you, when they see the way you carry yourself with peace, when they notice your ability to remain unbothered in situations that would crush others, when they realize you have a strength they cannot explain, something inside of them reacts. That reaction is envy. Envy is the confession of a heart that wishes it could be where you are, have what you have, or live as you live, but cannot. Many people will never tell you directly that they admire you. Instead, their admiration comes out twisted. Instead of saying, "I respect your focus," they call you cold. Instead of saying, "I wish I had your discipline," they call you arrogant. Instead of saying, "I wish I had your peace," they call you distant. Do you see it? Their words are not truly about you, they are reflections of themselves. They cannot handle the mirror that your life places in front of them. Because when they see you walking calmly while they are falling apart, when they see you succeeding quietly while they are struggling loudly, it confronts them with their own shortcomings. And instead of fixing themselves, they aim at you. This is why you must not take envy personally. It is never really about you. Envy is a projection. It is the loud cry of an insecure heart that feels exposed by your strength. Think of it this way: when you walk into a room unbothered, people who thrive on drama feel powerless. When you walk with confidence, people who depend on approval feel threatened. When you carry peace, people who live in chaos feel small. And their reaction is not admiration, it is envy. But here is the truth you must hold on to. Envy is evidence of your growth. People do not envy weakness. They envy strength. They do not envy failure. They envy progress. So when you notice envy rising around you, don't let it discourage you. It is confirmation that you are walking at a higher level than many expected. It means your life is provoking something in others. It means your strength is undeniable. And yet, you must also guard yourself, because envy can be destructive if you allow it to affect you. Envious people will try to pull you into their noise. They will attempt to make you doubt yourself, to belittle your achievements, to mock your choices. They will try to make you feel guilty for being strong where they are weak. But you cannot let their envy dictate your direction. Their jealousy is not your burden to carry. It is their mirror to face. Instead, use it as fuel. Let envy remind you that you are different. Let it remind you that you are walking with strength. Others do not understand. Let it remind you that your peace is valuable, that your focus is rare, that your resilience is powerful. Do not trade your strength to fit into their weakness. Do not shrink yourself so that others can feel comfortable. If your peace unsettles them, so be it. If your growth provokes them, let it. If your independence bothers them, let it disturb them. Because their envy is not a signal for you to change. It is a signal that you are exactly where you are meant to be. People envy what they cannot control. They envy what they cannot imitate. They envy what they cannot replace. And that means you have something within you that cannot be replicated. They can gossip about you. They can criticize you. They can misunderstand you, but they cannot steal the essence of what makes you you. They cannot duplicate your spirit. They cannot replicate your resilience. They cannot replace your peace. That is why envy lingers, because no matter how hard they try, they cannot become what you are. So stand firm in who you are. Do not let envy distract you from your purpose. Do not waste time trying to convince jealous hearts to love you. Do not spend your energy proving yourself to those who will never applaud you. Envy will always exist because comparison will always exist. But your task is not to manage their feelings. It is to walk your path with strength and grace. Envy is not your enemy. It is your confirmation. It confirms that you are carrying something valuable. It confirms that you are living in a way that others cannot ignore. It confirms that your peace, your focus, your resilience is real. And if envy is the price you must pay for living authentically, then so be it. Because at the end of the day, their jealousy cannot stop your journey. And that is why envy is simply proof that you are walking in strength they cannot match. Most people fear silence. They run from it. They drown it out with constant noise, endless chatter, and distractions that never stop. They believe that if life is quiet, it must mean something is wrong. They believe solitude is loneliness, and silence is emptiness. But that is not the truth. Silence and solitude are not weakness. They are power. When you learn to embrace them, you discover strength that others will never find because they are too busy trying to avoid being alone with themselves. In the stillness of silence, you meet your truest self. You begin to hear thoughts that are often buried under the noise of the world. You begin to notice the whispers of wisdom that you could never catch when surrounded by constant distraction. Noise confuses, silence clarifies. Noise scatters, silence gathers. Noise distracts you from who you are, but silence reminds you of the depth within you. When you choose solitude, you are not escaping life, you are preparing for it. Think about the people who carry true authority, the ones who stand unshaken in the midst of storms. Their power does not come from the crowd. It comes from their ability to be alone, to stand in silence, to gather strength where no one else is looking. A person who can be calm in solitude is a person who cannot be broken in chaos. That is why your solitude is not your weakness, it is your training ground. Many will never understand this. They will see you choosing quiet moments over constant company and mistake it for sadness. They will see you spending time alone and think you are incomplete. But that is because they do not realize what silence gives you. In silence, you gain vision. In solitude, you gain strength. In stillness, you gain the clarity to see where you are going. And that is something the crowd cannot give you. The crowd only gives noise. The crowd gives confusion, drama, and distraction. But when you step away, when you honor the power of silence, you find direction. The reason many people are restless, anxious, and constantly unsettled is because they have never learned to be still. They fill their days with endless scrolling, endless conversations, endless noise, hoping that by keeping busy they will drown the emptiness they feel inside. But silence does not create emptiness. It exposes it, and only by facing it, by sitting with yourself in solitude, can you begin to fill that emptiness with strength, wisdom, and peace. Your ability to be comfortable in silence makes you unshakable in life. Because when you no longer fear being alone, you no longer fear losing people. When you are at peace in solitude, you no longer depend on the approval of others. When you can sit in quietness and feel whole, you no longer need validation to feel complete. That is why silence is power. It frees you from the chains that hold so many others captive. People envy you because you are not restless like them. You do not need constant attention, constant affirmation, or constant drama to feel alive. You carry a calmness that disturbs those who live in chaos. You carry a strength that unsettles those who depend on noise. Your ability to remain unbothered is born out of your silence. And the truth is, people are often intimidated by someone who cannot be rattled. They do not know how to handle someone whose peace cannot be stolen, someone whose spirit cannot be shaken. That kind of strength only comes from solitude. Do not let anyone convince you that your quietness is emptiness. Do not let them label your solitude as weakness. What they cannot understand, they try to diminish. But deep down, they know the truth that the power you carry comes from what they avoid. They cannot sit still, but you can. They cannot embrace silence, but you do. And that is why your strength continues to grow while theirs fades. So embrace your solitude, protect your silence. Let it be the place where you recharge, where you think clearly, where you grow stronger. The world may not value quietness, but greatness is always birthed in the hidden places. Seeds grow in the soil, not in the spotlight. Strength is built in silence, not in applause. And your ability to value those quiet moments is what will prepare you for everything ahead. Silence is not emptiness, it is fullness. Solitude is not loneliness, it is strength. And once you learn to see them for what they truly are, you will realize they have been your greatest sources of power all along. And that is why silence and solitude will always remain the hidden strength of the unshakable. There will always be people who mistake your calmness for arrogance. They will see you walking away from conflict and assume you think you are better than them. They will see you refusing to engage in gossip and believe you are distant or cold. They will notice that you are unshaken by their opinions and conclude that you are prideful. But the truth is this: being unbothered is not arrogance, it is discipline. It is a choice you make every day to guard your peace, to protect your energy, and to focus on what truly matters. Anyone can react to nonsense. Anyone can argue back when provoked. Anyone can lower themselves into petty fights. But it takes discipline to remain still when provoked, to stay silent when attacked, and to remain focused when distractions surround you. That is not weakness, it is strength. That is not arrogance, it is wisdom. To be unbothered is to have mastered the art of choosing peace over conflict, growth over gossip, and purpose over pettiness. When you are unbothered, you are not ignoring life. You are managing it with intention. You are deciding what deserves your response and what does not. Not every voice deserves your attention. Not every battle deserves your energy. Not every opinion deserves your reaction. People who have no control over themselves will always try to control you. They will poke, prod, and provoke because they need to feel powerful. But when you refuse to play their game, when you remain calm while they are loud, when you continue moving forward while they try to pull you back, they cannot win. This is why your discipline bothers people. They want you to break. They want you to explode. They want you to sink to their level so they can feel justified. But when you do not give them that satisfaction, their frustration grows. They call you arrogant because they cannot understand how you stay composed. They call you prideful because they cannot explain your strength. but you know the truth. It is not arrogance that keeps you steady. It is discipline. It is the hours of inner work you have done. It is the strength you have built in silence. It is the wisdom you have gained by choosing not to waste your life on nonsense. And let me tell you, being unbothered is one of the greatest freedoms you can ever have. Because when you stop allowing people to control your emotions, you stop being their prisoner. When you stop reacting to every insult, you stop being manipulated by the insecure. When you stop giving your energy to drama, you suddenly have energy for growth, for vision, for progress. That is the power of discipline. It is not about ignoring life. It is about elevating above what drains life. Some people think discipline is about strict routines, but discipline is much deeper. Discipline is the ability to choose your battles. Discipline is the ability to decide what matters and what does not. Discipline is the strength to say, I will not lower myself to nonsense because I know where I am going. That is what makes you unbothered. You are not careless. You are careful. You are not arrogant. You are focused. You are not detached. You are wise enough to know that not every fight deserves your presence. This is what separates you from the crowd. The crowd reacts to everything. The crowd gets upset over words, offended by opinions, and trapped in cycles of gossip and conflict. But you walk differently. You rise above it. You stay focused on your path. And while they are wasting their strength on petty fights, you are using your strength to build your future. That is why people envy you, not because you are arrogant, but because you have mastered the art of being unbothered. And let me be clear, this discipline does not make you emotionless. It makes you wise. It does not make you hard. It makes you guarded. It does not make you cold. It makes you focused. You are not shutting out the world, you are filtering it. You are choosing what deserves your time, what deserves your words, and what deserves your energy. And that choice is what gives you power. So let them misunderstand you. Let them call you arrogant if they must. You do not owe explanations to people committed to misunderstanding you. You owe your energy to your purpose. You owe your time to your growth. You owe your focus to the future you are building. Being unbothered is not a sign that you think you are above others. It is a sign that you refuse to be dragged below by them. So stand firm in your discipline. Protect your peace. Guard your focus, because every time you choose to be unbothered, you are not avoiding life. You are mastering it. And that is why being unbothered will always be your greatest discipline, not your arrogance. There comes a moment in life when you realize that the only way to truly win is to walk your own path. For a long time, people will try to convince you that the road to success is about following the crowd, blending in, and fitting into their expectations. They will push you to chase trends, to do what is popular, to look, speak, and live like everyone else. But the truth is this: real victory does not come from imitation, it comes from authenticity. The world does not remember those who blend in. The world remembers those who dared to stand apart, those who had the courage to walk their own road, even when no one believed in them. It is not easy to walk a path that is different. It requires courage to step away from what everyone else is doing. It takes faith to trust that your way, though uncommon, is still the right way for you. People will doubt you. They will laugh at you. They will say you are wasting your time. They will compare your journey to theirs and try to measure your progress by their standards. But that is because they do not understand that your life is not meant to look like theirs. Your calling is not their calling. Your timing is not their timing. Your destiny is not their destiny. Walking your own path means accepting that you will not always be understood. You will not always be celebrated. In fact, you may be criticized more than you are praised. But that is the price of authenticity, and it is worth it, because authenticity will always outlast popularity. Trends fade, fads disappear. But what is real, what is true, what is authentic, that is eternal. When you remain true to yourself, you build something that no one can take from you. People envy those who walk their own path because it exposes the truth about their own lives. Deep down, many wish they had the courage to be different, but they settle for imitation. They bury their uniqueness in exchange for approval. They sacrifice their authenticity for acceptance. But you refuse to do that. You refuse to water yourself down to fit into their mold. And that refusal is what makes you powerful. It is what makes you unstoppable. When you walk your own path, you are not in competition with anyone. You are not racing against their timelines. You are not comparing your journey to theirs. You are free. Free to grow at your own pace. Free to discover your own strength. Free to arrive at your destination in your own way. And that freedom is the real victory. Because nothing is heavier than living a life that is not yours. Nothing is emptier than succeeding at being someone else. Understand this: authenticity is not weakness. It is strength. It is much easier to copy than to create. It is much safer to blend in than to stand out. It is much more comfortable to be accepted than to be questioned. But the easy road never leads to greatness. The safe road never creates history. The comfortable road never produces true fulfillment. Only by walking your own path can you discover the victory that was meant for you. And yes, the road will be hard. You will feel alone at times. You will doubt yourself at times. You will wonder if you made the right decision to separate yourself from the crowd. But every step you take in authenticity will bring you closer to peace, to purpose, to power. Because deep down, nothing feels better than knowing you stayed true to yourself. And nothing is stronger than a person who refuses to compromise their authenticity for approval. The crowd will always chase what is popular. They will jump from one trend to another, hoping to find satisfaction in what everyone else is doing. But you walk steadily. You are not swayed by the noise. You are not moved by what is temporary. You keep your eyes fixed on your own purpose. And that is why your victory will not just be loud, it will be lasting. Because the path you walk is not built on imitation, it is built on truth. So keep walking. Even if others do not understand, keep walking. Even if the road feels lonely, keep walking. Even if no one claps for you, keep walking. Because the road of authenticity may be narrow, but it always leads to true victory. And that is why walking your own path will forever make you unstoppable.